Welcome to this morning's hearing, and I'm going to ask Mr. Randall Dong to read the docket.
Good morning. This is the annual review of purchase gas adjustment and gas purchasing policies of South Carolina Electric and Gas Company, docket number 2018 5G. Mr. Chairman and other members of the Commission, the docket is in order.
Thank you. We'll take appearances.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, and members of the Commission. My name is Matthew Gissendanner. I'm Corporate Counsel for SC&G, and with me today is Mr. Chad Burgess, who's also Corporate Counsel for SC&G. Together, we represent the company. Our pleasure to appear before you this morning.
Thank you. Welcome. ORS. Welcome. Anything preliminary that we need to do? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. The Office of Regulatory Staff and South Carolina Electric and Gas Company, the only parties in this docket, have reached a stipulation in this case. That stipulation was filed with the Commission on October 22nd of this year. Per the stipulation, ORS and SC&G have agreed to stipulate the testimony and exhibits into the record without cross-examination. At this time, if it is suitable to the Commission, we would like to enter the stipulation and its one exhibit into the record as the first hearing exhibit.
The stipulation and the one exhibit will be entered into the record as hearing exhibit number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Additionally, due to the condensed nature of the hearing schedule today, we have submitted verifications of some of the testimony. On October 23rd, ORS filed the affidavit verifying the testimony of Zachary Payne. If I could enter that into the record as the next hearing exhibit at this time.
It will be exhibit number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. ORS will present the live testimony of Mr. Anthony Sandonato after SC&G presents their case. And that is all for our preliminary matters, but I believe Mr. Gissendanner has some additional.
Thank you. Mr. Gissendanner.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I first wanted to express the company's gratitude to expedite this morning. SC&G has pre-filed verification or filed verifications about testimony of its 3 witnesses, their exhibit. This time, I would like to move into the record as an orally stand pre-filed direct testimony of Alicia Howard, Rose Jackson, and Rachel.
Okay, the pre-filed direct testimony of Ms. Howard, Ms. Jackson, and I didn't write it down. Ms. Elliott. My total recall wasn't working, which it rarely does. But they will be read into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We would also like to move into the record as the next hearing composite exhibit the 2 verified exhibits labeled RRE1 and RRE2 that were attached to Mrs. Elliott's verified.
Okay, the exhibits, verified exhibits RRE1 and 2 will be entered as exhibit number 3.
And then finally, Mr. Chairman, we would also move into the record as the next hearing composite exhibit the 3 verified exhibits labeled RMJ1, RMJ2, RMJ3 that were attached to Ms. Jackson's verified pre-filed direct testimony.
Okay, the exhibits RMJ1, 2, and 3 attached to Ms. Jackson's will be entered as exhibit number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If there's nothing further, we're prepared to call Ms.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, we're having a little thing today. on the brain.
Do we need to get the testimony from the RRS witness read into the record as if given orally from the stand?
Yes, thank you.
Glad it wasn't just me.
We could move the testimony of Mr. Zachary Payne along with his 3 exhibits, ZGP 1 through ZGP 3. If we could have them read into the record as if given orally from the stand and moved in as the next exhibit or with his verification. I don't know what's cleaner.
Mr. Payne's pre-filed testimony will be read into the record as if given orally from the stand. Is that fine?
It's fine.
And his exhibits. There will be the next hearing exhibit. Where do you want to put them? Be hearing exhibit number 5.
Great.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Gissendanner, and we'll get to Ms. Jackson. We're all acting like there's something else going on.
Ms. Jackson, please state your name for the record. And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Scana Services Incorporated as the General Manager of Supply and Asset Management.
Ms. Jackson, your verified testimony and exhibits have been entered into evidence. Have you prepared a summary of your direct testimony?
Yes, I have.
Can you please share that with us at this time?
Yes. Good morning, Chairman Randall and members of the Commission. My testimony discusses the company's portfolio of gas supply. During the review period, the company's gas asset portfolio relied upon all 3 gas supply options available to it, namely wellhead gas supply, underground storage secured from Southern Natural Gas Company or Southern, and Transcontinental Gas Pipeline or Transco, and liquefied natural gas, also known as LNG. SCENG combines these supply options with interstate transportation to meet its firm demand under varying weather conditions at reasonable cost. During the review period, SCENG contracted for sufficient supplies of natural gas, provided reliable service to its customers, and adequately and prudently maintained gas storage and transportation assets to meet the needs of the system. On October 22, 2018, SCENG and the ORS entered into a stipulation in this matter. Under the stipulation, the parties accept the use of the cost of gas calculations for the review period set forth in Ms. Elliott's exhibit RRE-1, agreed to maintain the monthly adjustment procedure and notification procedure of the total cost of gas factors as adopted in prior commission orders, acknowledge that the demand charges included in the total cost of gas factors will continue to be calculated by distributing such cost among the rate schedules based on a 50-50 allocation of peak design day demand and annual forecast sales. Agree that the allocation factors contained on page 4 of Ms. Elliott's pre-filed direct testimony are appropriate and should be used for the cost of gas calculations beginning with the first billing cycle of January 2019. And agree that SCENG shall continue to charge and recover carrying cost, if applicable, on the cumulative total over or under collection balances as set forth in prior commission orders. Consistent with the stipulation, I respectfully request that the Commission find that SCENG properly administered the FPGA and correctly adjusted the gas cost recovery factors for each customer class, employed prudent gas purchasing practices and policies, recovered its gas costs consistent with applicable tariffs and Commission orders, and was prepared during the review period and is currently prepared to meet its customers' projected needs via its future supply and capacity asset plan. This concludes my summary.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Jackson is available to the commissioners for questioning. Mr. Chairman, before doing so, just so that the record is complete, I would also ask that the commission move the verifications of the 3 SCENG witnesses.
Okay, we'll move the verifications of the 3 SCENG witnesses into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you.
Commissioners, questions? Okay, we're going to do that as a hearing exhibit. That's what, Ms. Wheat, does that work for you? Okay. All right, then. And we'll put them in as a hearing exhibit number 6.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Whitfield?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Ms.
Good
Jackson.
morning.
Good to have you with us again today.
Thank you.
Just got a few questions for you. Want to refer you to page 9 of your direct testimony. If you give you a second to get there, if you're there. You state on there that on page 9, you talk about the company's ability to rely on segmentation will decrease or is decreasing, and SC&G will be required to look at its system growth in more detail by area points rather than by a system-wide basis to determine where new facilities will be needed to be constructed to contract for additional firm transportation by area points. Has the company started the process of identifying system growth by area points?
Yes, sir. Over the last, I would say 3 to 5 years, we have begun to look at it in a more granular type of look where we drill down to each area point. We were anticipating that the new 50,000 decatherms of DECGT capacity would be online November 1st, this previous winter season, and that would give us the opportunity to see what kind of impacts that new capacity would have on segmentation. However, due to construction delays, that capacity did not come online until March 1st of 2018. So that's one reason why we're going to really look hard at how we utilize that capacity this winter season to see the impact of segmentation going forward, because there's new facilities associated with that capacity.
Have any of them been constructed or under? Have any of them that have been constructed, are they under contract yet?
Yes, sir. That full.
Just that one.
Yes, sir. That full project. It came into service March 1st, and it was fully subscribed to.
And I see your comments saying that there's more demand of that system, more than anticipated, I guess.
Yes, sir. The system has continued to grow over time, and the gas supply direction has changed as well. So there's been greater demand to have receipts on the Transco system rather than the Southern Natural system. So DECGT's system has changed over the last several years.
Has the company identified any other points that will need additional firm transportation capacity?
We are evaluating this at the time. Previously, we would project on a 5 to 10 year basis, and now the company is projecting 10, 15 years out.
Can you share, at this time, can you share where any of those area points are located that you've identified?
One of the locations that we have identified that we're looking at is the Charleston area point. However, our Bushy Park LNG facility will help us in that location, depending upon how that segmentation will work.
Any other points, area points you could share with us at this time, or is it still?
I don't have that detail with me. Mm-hmm. I believe there's one other point, possibly the River Neck Road area long term, mm-hmm. But we can have that available.
Where is that?
It is in the Florence area.
Florence area.
Feeding into Myrtle Beach.
Florence area, PD area, okay. Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you, Ms. Jackson. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Elam.
Good morning, Ms. Jackson.
Good morning.
The new capacity, I guess 50,000 from Dominion, has that capacity from that project into the Columbia, Charleston, and Sumter areas met SC&G's expectations of what you were going to get?
It did not meet our expectations as far as the in-service date, because we had counted on that capacity this past winter season. We were expecting it to come online November 1st of 2017, and it came online March 1st of 2018. So we didn't have that winter experience with that capacity, so we'll be looking at that this winter.
Question for next year.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Commissioners, any other? Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Ms. Jackson.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm looking at page 9 of your pre-filed testimony.
Sir.
You state that SCENG acquired 5,000 DTs per day, a firm capacity from the DECGT through an open season, and that contract commences November 1st, 2018, or commenced, I should say.
Yes, sir.
Is that right? Okay. What is an open season and how does it work?
What happens is that if an existing contract holder on an interstate pipeline has a contract come up for termination or expiration, they have the right to notify the pipeline, and it's typically anywhere from 6 months to 2 years notice that they're either going to renew that contract, reduce that contract volume, or turn it back, is what we call it. So they're going to end their contract with that interstate pipeline. What the pipeline then does is they post a notice on their electronic bulletin board, which is on their internet site, and it allows other shippers or new shippers on the system to bid for that capacity. So we bid on that capacity, and we were able to acquire that 5,000 decatherms at the maximum recourse rate. So it's the system rate rather than pay an expansion rate or an incremental rate.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. A couple more questions. When will the firm capacity from the open season end?
I believe, and I apologize, I believe we bid 10 or 15-year term on that.
Okay.
I apologize. I don't have that detail with me.
Okay. Is that something you think you could get to us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Last question. Can SCENG rely on such capacity in the future?
With this capacity, as long as capacity is not acquired at a discounted rate, the shipper, such as SCENG, has what we call a ROFR right, or a right of first refusal. So we will have the right to notify the pipeline our intent to extend that contract or renew that contract. We can reduce the volumes on that contract, or we can terminate. So we'll have that first right to decide what we want to do with the capacity in the future.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Urban.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Jackson, how are you this morning?
Good. How are you doing?
Great. Does the company periodically assess the need to re-implement a hedging program?
We look at that. We look at the market. We're in the market every day, looking at how prices are trading. And I will tell you, we had a hedging program for a number of years. That program was suspended because the cost of the program were very high compared to the benefits of that program. So we currently employ a 12-month rolling PGA, which allows us to smooth the volatility of the cost of gas to our customers. And we also employ physical gas storage, which allows us to inject gas during the summer months when prices typically are lower than in the winter months, and we can pull out that storage in the wintertime when we need it most. So we continue to rely on those type of hedging methods, if you will, rather than a financial hedging program.
What's the storage capacity, if you know?
I do. If you'll look in my testimony in Exhibit RMJ 2-2, it shows the various interstate storage options that we have. On Southern, which is our largest storage field, it's the CSS. We have nearly 5 BCF of storage, and it allows us to withdraw 99,000 decatherms on a daily basis. Then we also have several smaller storages on Transco. That gives us right at 600,000 decatherms a day of capacity, and we can withdraw nearly 20,000 a day off of that. We also have our own on-system LNG. We have 2 plants, one at Sally and one at Bushy Park, and that gives us roughly a little over 109,000 decatherms a day that we can withdraw.
Thank you.
Commissioner Williams, do we need a late file exhibit on your question?
Commissioner Chairman Randall.
Yes, sir.
I finished questioning.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, Commissioner Whitfield.
Got one follow-up to Commissioner Williams' questions about the contract, about the first right of refusal. Could you tell us, are there any specific preferences to get that? Is it because you're a current contract holder, or is that just extended because you are in a contract with them, or any extra cost to obtaining that, or is that just how? Talk to me about that first right of refusal just a minute.
One of the things under FERC regulations is that as long as you are paying the maximum recourse rate, you are allowed that right of first refusal. If you enter into a discounted rate, that's one of the things you typically give up is that right of first refusal because you're receiving a discounted rate, and in exchange for that, you typically give up that right of first refusal.
As long as you aren't in the discounted rate, you have that right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Howard.
Jackson, good morning.
Good morning.
Here's how I want to phrase it. Mississippi, we have obviously Commissioner Friends of Mississippi. They make a big push, and he goes on Facebook with these checks and all the time for the government to get natural gas into the rural areas. You mentioned most of your growth comes from new areas, new residential areas. What plan or grants do you know that are available to help get natural gas to our rural areas?
Commissioner Howard, unfortunately, I'm not aware of any grants available to us. I will tell you that I'm not aware of any rural areas that we haven't been able to reach where there has been demand for natural gas. I apologize, I'm just not aware of those.
I live in one, but that's beside the point.
I'm sorry.
No, I was curious. I guess I was more or less concerned about the availability of grants. And I know it's more expensive to go to existing areas. I know that you got to go on the sidewalks and all that stuff. But I'm just curious, is there any effort on your part to get gas again? I'm being redundant, and you answered my question.
And I apologize, that's outside of my area of expertise.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commissioners. Any other questions? I just have one quick one. Always interested in pipeline integrity and pipeline inspection. So a very brief, quick overview of the process for pipeline inspection and include the state and federal agencies that you work with on that.
We work with PHMSA as the federal agency, and we are involved in both distribution integrity management programs and transmission integrity management programs. And we continue to follow guidelines at both the federal and state levels to maintain the integrity of those systems on an annual basis.
Thank you. I know Commissioner Whitfield wanted to ask that anyway. You want another one?
I do want to ask something following. How about, have you all been involved with both with the federal agency and I guess primarily with PHMSA, but also maybe with our own state inspectors with leak detection and some of the new technologies of methane gas leaks and leak detection? Could you share any of that, or are you familiar with any of that?
I personally am not familiar with that. We do have a group that works with both the federal and the state agencies on that type of investigation and analysis work. So that is ongoing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Whitfield. Any other questions, Commissioners? Okay, Mr. Gissendanner.
Ms. Jackson, Commissioner Williams asked about the expiration date of the 5,000 decatherms of firm capacity acquired from Dominion Energy Carolina Gas Transmission that began on November 1st, 2018. Could you please turn with me to your exhibit RMJ1?
I'm there, and I think it's that kind of morning for me too.
And understand.
On that exhibit, the fifth row under the contracts listed for Dominion Energy Carolina Gas Transmission, I believe it provides the expiration date for that 5,000 decatherms. Could you please share that with us?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Williams, I apologize. The contract for 5,000 decatherms terminates on March 31st, 2035. But once again, because we are paying the maximum recourse rate, we will have right of first refusal at that time.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. No other questions, Ms. Jackson. You may be excused. Thank you. Ms. Pittman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, ORS would like to call Mr. Anthony Sandinato to the stand. Mr. Sandinato, please state your name and occupation.
My name is Anthony Sandinato, and I'm employed by the Office of Regulatory Staff as a regulatory analyst.
Are you the same Anthony Sandinato who pre-filed 11 pages of direct testimony in this docket on October 12th, 2018?
I am.
Do you have any changes or revisions to your pre-filed testimony?
No, I do not.
Mr. Chairman, we ask that the pre-filed direct testimony of Mr. Sandinato be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Mr. Sandinato's pre-filed testimony will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you. Mr. Sandinato, did you prepare a summary of your direct testimony?
Yes, I did.
Would you please present your summary to the Commission at this time?
Certainly. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. The ORS review covered the period of August 2017 through July 2018. My testimony covers 4 key points. First, ORS reviewed the company's large construction and maintenance projects in order to ensure those projects promote the safe and reliable delivery of natural gas. Second, ORS found the company practiced reasonable gas purchasing policies and is prepared to meet next winter's projected firm customers' requirements. Third, ORS found that SC&G administered and recovered its gas costs in a manner consistent with the current Commission-approved tariffs and Commission orders. Fourth, ORS has reviewed the proposed calculations of the demand costs of gas allocation factors and agrees with those factors to be implemented in January of 2019. Finally, ORS believes that the stipulation is in the public interest, and I request that the Commission approve the stipulation in its entirety. This concludes my summary.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Sandinato is available for questions from the Commission.
Thank you. Commissioners. Commissioner Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Sandinato, were the gas purchasing policies and practices of SC&G prudent during the test period?
Yes, they were.
Sir.
Commissioner Whitfield. Oh, you just had your, oh, that's okay. Any other questions from commissioners? If not, thank you, Mr. Sandinato, and you may be excused.
Thank you.
Anything else that needs to come before us in this case?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to compliment Ms. Jackson on her smile during this hearing. We won't see much more of that. Thank you, sir.
So complimented. Okay. Okay, if there's nothing else to come, we will be adjourned and we will start the next hearing. Wait a minute, Mr. Gissendanner.
I was just going to inquire about due dates for proposed orders.
You got Mr.
Can we do 2 weeks?
Yes.
Is that okay?
That works for us.
Great. Thanks. Yes. Exhibit number 1 is the stipulation. Number 2 is the verification of Payne's testimony. Number 3 is verified exhibits from witness Elliott. Number 4 is the verified exhibits from Ms. Jackson. Number 5 is the Payne exhibits. And number 6 is the verifications for the SC&G witnesses. Sure.
Okay. Good. Anything else? All right. If not, we are adjourned. We'll reconvene the next hearing at 10 a.m.